Hi, welcome to Christiana's Psychic Cafe. Happy Mother's Day. How are you? So glad that you're here. You may notice that we're still in my kitchen. We're in the process, as you guys know, we've been working on getting the studio together for quite some time. I think within the next couple of weeks I'll be in it. In the meantime, I'm recording from my kitchen, which is sort of appropriate for the Psychic Cafe. We have a great show for you here today. Hillary Gauvreau, who is an energy healer. She's been trained and actually teaches at the Barbara Brennan Healing School. We have a wonderful conversation with her. I spoke with her this past Friday, and we recorded it for you, and just it's so inspiring. Not just about energy healing, although we talk about that, but also about metaphysical business, believing in ourselves. She has a lot of great stuff to say. So we'll be doing that in just a moment, but I promised you that we would start doing a card of the week. And this week we're going to take our card of the week from the Dali Tarot. And you may know that Salvador Dali designed a deck. I've been spending some time in the Tampa Bay area, and in St. Petersburg is the Dali Museum. I was just there last week for a tarot display, not a Dali tarot display, but a display called Contemporary Magic, a tarot deck art project. I'll be telling you more about that this week and next week. But I thought it would be fun, in honor of Salvador Dali, to pull a card from his deck for the week. So let's do that. And we have the Wheel of Fortune. Now,
Christiana, hold on just a second. I've lost your camera.
Oh my goodness. Okay, let me see if I can fix it here on my end. Okay,
there you go. You're back. Thank you.
Okay, cool. The Wheel of Fortune. And you know that we would lose the camera when I'm showing you the Wheel of Fortune makes all the sense in the world, because one thing that the Wheel of Fortune says is anything can happen. Good luck, bad luck, anything can happen. The Wheel of Fortune reminds us that everything happens in cycles. If you're on top of the world right now, enjoy it, because you might be at the bottom of the world tomorrow. If you're feeling like you're at the bottom right now, hang in there. The wheel will turn again, and you'll come back to the top. Everything goes around. Everything has cycles. Anything can happen. Sometimes, too, this card comes up to say, take a chance. The winds of fortune are at your back. The hand of a higher power is moving in your life. Go ahead and take a chance. So that's our card of the week here on the Psychic Cafe, from the Salvador Dali Tarot. Pretty cool. And well, as I said, we'll be talking more about Dali later in the show and also next week. Also later in the show, we have a song from Robin Renee. And I know she has recently been a guest on Aphrodite's Kitchen, a new show here on Penn. So I'm really happy that Robin Renee is becoming a celebrity here on Penn and out in the world as well. But now I'd like to introduce you to a really good friend of mine, energy healer Hillary Gauvreau. Hillary Gauvreau, it's so nice to have you on Christiana's Psychic Cafe. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for inviting me, Christiana. It's good to see you.
It is good to see you. And, you know, before we officially start the interview, I have to point this out. We've known each other for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't even know how long. It just seems like forever.
It seems like forever, but I'm going to say 2000, 2001, something like that.
That sounds probably about right.
And the way we met was we both had offices in this funky building in Niantic, Connecticut.
True. True, and it's still funky, but we're working on it.
Now, are you still in there?
I'm still there, yes.
Wow, 321 Main Street.
Yeah. Yep, right there, 321 Main Street in Niantic.
Okay.
And actually, I love Niantic. Niantic is such a a sweet little coastal village, and it's starting to attract some attention. So that's good. Yeah. Yeah, we just had a contest in Connecticut for the best town, and Niantic is leading #1.
No way.
Yeah, you believe it? No way.
I mean, you can look at Niantic two ways. It is this lovely little coastal New England town, and it's also where the nuke and the women's prison is. So it really depends on how you look.
Nestled between the nuke and the prison. Yes, it's just lovely. It's a little pearl and
So we had, it's always nice when you end up with office space next to other metaphysical people. We shared a lot of clients. We did some stuff together. It was just a wonderful networking thing. And I'm happy to see that you are still going strong. So at this point, I'm going to invite you to tell people what you do. What do you do?
Okay. Well, that's really a good question, and I've been pondering that for the past 20 years that I've been in practice. What the heck is it that I do? Okay, so in its literal terms, I am a Barbara Brennan healing science practitioner, a Reiki master. So basically, I work with energy, hands on the body, working with the energy system, the 4 dimensions, the dimensions of the physical and the energetic and the intention and the core essence. And basically work with physical, mental, emotional, relationship, financial, whatever issues are there, I work with them. And recently, I just want to add this. Recently, I've been fascinated and just took a couple of trainings in something called matrix energetics, which I think is going to revolutionize my practice, actually.
Really? So you're going to want to hear more about that. But I wanted to... What you said there was very interesting when we talk about doing energy work. I think we're all familiar with the idea of doing energy work for physical healing and for emotional healing. But financial healing, how does that work?
Well, everything's energy. And so consequently, anything is changeable. So we can work because there are always other issues related to financial or whatever there is that's presenting a relationship issue, anything. There can be very often a lot of emotional issues attached to finances.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So you work with those.
Wow.
What's your belief? And images and beliefs, especially people who are into the spiritual worlds. It's like it's not okay to make money working with spiritual things. But money's just energy, and it's an energy exchange, and that's what makes the world go around. It's the flow.
Wow, and I'm sure that at least half our audience just sort of picked up their ears there because we are lucky at the cafe to have a lot of our audience be metaphysical practitioners who practice professionally or who are working toward that.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's something everyone needs to hear and everyone needs to know. Do you have more you want to say about that?
Yeah, well, what I want to say is I just recently read this marvelous book by Lynn McTaggart. She wrote a book a while ago called The Field, which was very popular, and I highly recommend it. It's fabulous. She is a layperson, so she's not a scientist or anything, but the way that she writes helps to make all of that really technical stuff very understandable to most people, and it's fascinating. She just wrote a book called The Bond, and something in there really, really got me. She said that we have been programmed to believe in a world of competition, survival of the fittest, Darwinism, all of that. When in reality, we all function so much better when there is a cooperative component, when we're supporting each other. So that's kind of where I go in that we are not a shortage world. We are an abundant world. It's just our own beliefs about limitation that cut us off from that flow that's there. So I think there's enough for everybody. There's more than enough for everybody. The only thing that limits us is our belief.
I love that. And it's something that I have unfortunately noticed in certain aspects of the metaphysical community, even perhaps you have too, where there can be a lot of professional jealousy, backbiting, rather than, there's plenty of clientele for all of us. There's plenty of work for all of us.
Totally. Oh, I gotta tell you a story. We just had this thing in the building. Now our building is full. It wasn't full for a long time, but now it's full. And we have a group of massage therapists in one spot. And then as part of my group, we have a massage therapist yoga teacher as well. And she was there for about a year, advertising, doing her thing. Everybody was, getting along as far as we knew. We rarely ever ran into the other group of massage people, so there wasn't any real interaction. All of a sudden, they were like livid that she was advertising her massages cheaper than theirs. And what was she trying to do? Was she trying to, push them out of the market? And it just got really, really mean. And I thought, isn't this interesting how this came up now when it had been here for a year at least? So way more to it, I imagine. I don't know the details of it, but we had a Reiki person in my office. I do Reiki. I teach Reiki. I don't care. Everybody has a different way of being with the material, and it will connect with certain people, and then I will connect with other people. So there's enough. There's enough for everyone. It's about energetic resonance. We resonate with certain people in certain ways that we don't with others, and those are the people we gravitate to. And the people that gravitate to me are the ones who know just instinctively, intuitively, that I have experience with whatever it is that they're challenged by. And that, that's the way it goes.
That is so well said.
Yeah, there's always enough.
Absolutely.
And, that whole thing you said about jealousy and all of that, I mean, that is true for everyone, everywhere, no matter what you're doing in the world. And that's all about the process of personal growth and empowerment and realizing that there is no competition. There is none, only the self-imposed.
Wow. And now, okay, the true confessions.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Let us each for a moment speak with complete honesty. While we know this, you and I both know this, and we practice it. And people who know us know that we practice that.
Uh-huh.
Are there times when you do feel a little bit threatened by another person in your field being successful in some way? I mean, have you ever, I know you haven't acted on it, but have you ever in your...
I haven't killed anyone yet. But yes, of course. But I think because of the work that I've done, I recognize that feeling that's happening isn't about them, it's about me. So then I start to work with, where is it in me that I'm feeling insecure about the work that I do?
Right.
And so that's where I focus. Because once I get through whatever it is that's getting me, I realize that the more successful you are, the more successful I am, the more successful everybody is. That's the way it resonates.
Perfect.
If I try to squash you and limit you, I'm also squashing myself.
Right. That is I love that. That is very true. Yeah. Okay, I have a few questions, things that, areas I'd like to explore with you. And as long as we've known each other, here's something I don't know about you that I think people would find very interesting to know. And one of the themes, I have other questions around this theme too. The fact that, we know a lot of really great Reiki practitioners, energy healers, all of that. Mm-hmm. Most of them do not support themselves full-time with it. And I think you distinguish yourself in your field being able to, for I mean, you have a career, a legitimate, bona fide career full time in this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as we go further into our interview today, there are people listening who are going to want to know how you did that.
Me too.
But my first question is like, okay, young Hillary at 18, 19, 20, did you go to college? What did you think? I can't imagine that you thought this was going to be your career.
Oh,
What
God.
was your career going to be, and how did this all happen?
Oh, that is a fascinating story when I look back at it, because it's only when we look back that we get to see what made sense and what didn't, all that kind of thing. I was a weird child. I was a very strange child. I believed like there was way more. I can remember one time my grandmother died, and I was probably like 5 years old maybe. And after the funeral and being at the house and all that, it was early evening. We piled into the car, and from the back seat, I looked up at the sky and I saw a star, the first star of the evening or whatever. And I said to my mother, I said, Mom, don't worry. Grandma is that star right there, and you'll be able to see her. And she whipped around and she went, who told you that? Who told you that? I went, I don't know. I don't know. And so I learned like to kind of keep my mouth shut. So then as my life unfolded and I had, to deal with the real world, I did go to college. I was a biochemistry major. And it was during college that I had this dark night of the soul experience. I had always believed, that there was something greater than myself. I wasn't quite sure what that was. I knew it wasn't the guy in the sky. So I got into college, and all of a sudden I thought there was nothing. And what if there's nothing? And I kind of went through this really dark period. I don't know how I got through that, but I did. I got out of that and back into a sense of there is something. I don't know what it is, but there's got to be something. Went to work in various labs, did cancer research for the Albany Medical College. I worked private labs, did all that kind of thing. Then got married, moved to Connecticut, became a full-time mom. My now ex-husband said, you need to go back to work. We want you to go to work. Go to Pfizer. And I thought, that really doesn't feel very good to me. And then my daughter was born in 1985, and I had a spiritual awakening. I don't know what else to call it but that. All this stuff that I kind of put on the back burner, in January of 1985, all of a sudden I went, oh my gosh, I have to find out more. And back then, there wasn't the internet like there is now. Books were really limited in the library, so what was there were the Seth books. And I read voraciously all the Seth books that I could get my hands on. And then, just by coincidence, which we know there aren't any, a New Age bookstore opened in my neighborhood, Merlin Books of East Lyme, and I was there. I was probably the foundation client that consumer. I was there every single week, several times a week, classes, everything, doing that whole thing, spiritual development, all of that. And it was actually Jessie Kessler who owned Merlin Books. She looked at me one day and she said, would you like to teach a workshop here? And I went, about what? And she said, healing. Don't you know you're a healer? And I said, honest to God, I said, Jessie, I don't even know any sick people. She just looked at me like, okay, okay, maybe not ready yet. So then in 89, she and I and a couple other people went to Omega Institute to see Barbara Brennan. And I was clueless. I wanted to be a channeler. That's what I wanted to be. I was into the whole New Age thing. Healing, not so much, I went to see Barbara Brennan at Omega. Huge room filled with 350 people, and I had the most powerful experience I have ever had in that kind of a setting. I mean, it just impacted me, and I said, oh my God, there is something here. This is real. This stuff is real. So then a few years later, I actually, in spite of my husband's wishes and everybody else's wishes, because you know how it is when you
Mhm.
just know in your soul that this is the direction you have got to go in, and it's not like you're excluding anyone from your life. You just know that you can't deny this direction that you need to go in, and so that's what I did. So I started with the Brennan School, graduated in '97 and then couldn't imagine leaving, got involved with the teacher training program, and I've been there ever since. So I've been involved with the Brennan School since 1993.
And you teach there now.
And I still teach there. I'm still there. I can't seem to but it's an amazing program. It is so profound. I recently had did a TV interview with a local healer person who she did this 13-week series on holistic health, and she called it the Harvard of healing schools, and I really think it is.
You know, I remember back in the 80s, you know what, the 80s was like the decade of enlightenment for those of us of a certain age, I think.
Yeah, I woke up.
And I remember I had the book Hands of Light.
Yeah.
And right, right. It didn't call me as it called you, but I remember finding it fascinating, and it was certainly a part of my journey. You know, it was the tarot books by Mary Kay Greer that were like, oh my God, here I am.
Yes. We connect with certain things. Yeah.
Right, absolutely. So tell us about your practice now. How can people see you? What can you do for people? Do you do phone? Do you do Skype? Can you do distance? Tell us what you do.
Yes. Yes, I do all of that. My website, which is healingcem.com, has a lot of that information about how to contact me, call me, email me, Facebook me. I'm on Facebook. The Healing Connections Energy Medicine is the name of my business. I have a page there. There's also my page. So contact me send me smoke signals. I will be looking. As I said, I work with anything and everything. Spiritual growth. Some people come to me just for that. You know, they don't have a problem, but they just know there's more to things than this. The way that I work long distance, by phone. I had Skype, but I generally don't work with Skype, but I can. And in person, I do it all. I teach classes. I have a wonderful group of lovely people, my core people, here in Connecticut that get together a couple times a month for the Reminders of What We Need to Know group, which is fabulous. I teach Reiki classes, so whatever anyone needs, contact me and we'll see what we can do for you.
Excellent.
Did I answer that question?
I think
Okay.
and all your website and all of that is on the bottom of the screen so people can see it. What would you say? What advice would you give to people who, you very genuinely described that feeling when you hear your calling.
Mm-hmm.
For the people who have heard their calling to be energy healers, and we recognize that there's different modalities within that. Most people, I think, like you, will combine and add in different modalities. But if we look at that under the big umbrella of energy healers, for people who are called to do that and do it professionally, you have done it successfully. What advice would you give?
Wow. Follow your passion. Follow your pleasure. Follow your joy. Whatever engages you will engage the other. I mean, that's really what it's about. As far as making it a profession goes, I just never thought I couldn't. And when I started out, I was very fortunate because I was married and my husband made enough money to support the family because I had been, a full-time mom. So I could start out slow. I think Okay, I was going to say I think everything starts out slowly, but I'm going to take that back
Okay.
because I don't think there is any one way that things happen. Okay, I think what's really important is that anyone going into any kind of entrepreneurial situation or any kind of profession, you set your intention to be aligned with your purpose in being here and to be successful and to fulfill that service or that contract that you've come to fulfill. That's really what it's about. It's not about sacrifice. It's not about demand. It's not about making anything happen. I mean, you could just sit in your office 24/7 aligned with your intention that clients will come to you and they'll come to you.
Mhm. Mhm. You know, that is so true, and on a very personal level, I'm happy to hear you say that. I've made a lot of changes in my business recently where I don't have the time to do a lot of the promotional stuff that I used to do. And I'm thinking, well, if I don't do that promotional stuff, what's that going to mean down the road for me? Well, what it's meant is, I think for exactly the reason you say, because I am completely aligned in my purpose, what it means is I don't have to sit out worrying about rain on my tarot cards, reading for tips at a street fair anymore. I'm beyond that now.
Right. And so what happens is when we're aligned with our fear, there's more fear and it really prevents the flow of clients and people coming in. It's when we're saying, okay, I trust this process. I'm going to relax
Right.
and I'm going to follow where it leads me. And that might lead me to making a Facebook page. That might lead me to doing something promotional. But I'm doing it because it's aligned, not because I'm afraid if I don't, people will forget I'm here.
Right. Right. Perfect. Okay. You had mentioned at the very beginning about a new modality that you have found. Would you share about that?
Oh, I'm so excited about this. This is just amazing. I actually just got back from a practitioner certification training program in this matrix energetics. I discovered matrix energetics a bunch of years ago and didn't really know anybody else who knew about it. And gradually people started talking, bringing it up. And I said, oh, yeah, I know about that. I had been trying for years to get to a training and it just never worked. Finally, in January, a training came up. A friend of mine wanted to go. We went down to Asheville, North Carolina, which is a fabulous place, by the way. And did the level 1 and 2 workshop there. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Basically, it was not created. It was kind of discovered by Dr. Richard Bartlett, who is chiropractor, naturopath, and a bit, eccentric, maybe is the word. He does not live in this reality. He is so plugged into the quantum field. It is amazing. He can make anything change. So basically what he doesn't even make it change. He just plugs into the information and the information changes. So basically what it is, it's a method for being able to drop into the heart field, set an attention, and then let go. So you're observing information, really. What he says and what I know to be true from the quantum physics realm is that we are not we are not physical. What we are just waves of light and information. Everything is waves of light and information. And because of that, we can read the information that's there and then we can affect a change in it. So we're not trying to fix anything or make anything happen or decide how it's supposed to be. We just observe it and it changes. And then it changes and then it changes. It's so amazing. I have never had so much fun working in a modality before. And I realized that I've been doing a lot of work. I am restructuring the field. I am restructuring a chakra. I am fixing and adjusting and working, and the session takes an hour, and it's a lot of work. And that's one of the things he said was, people, 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 you're calling it energy work, energy work, energy work. It doesn't. It doesn't. And I'm like, what? What? He goes, if you have to do it over and over and over and over again, is it working? Is it really working? And I went, wow, maybe it doesn't have to. Yes, it does work. Of course it works. Maybe it doesn't have to take so long to work. Maybe it doesn't have to be such work. Maybe we could play in the field and things could shift. So and basically that's what the matrix energetics is about. And I am loving it. It is amazing. It's like, to me, what Barbara Brennan was in the 80s, Richard Bartlett is in the 21st century. It's cutting edge technology. And what he says is it's a technology. It's not a technique, so that you can incorporate this technology into any technique that you're doing, anything, any way that you're working. Whether you're a graphic artist or a chiropractor or, a street sweeper, you can bring matrix energetics into that.
Wow. As soon as we're done talking, I'm going to be online looking that up, right? I think everyone.
Please do. Yes, he's in Florida often.
See, that is very cool.
He's going to be in Newark, New Jersey in September.
Okay.
So I'm thinking about doing another training there. It's kind of like, I'm thinking, oh man, how am I going to be able to get all these trainings in? They're so much fun. They are so much fun.
And, I think there's a subtext there that it's important for people to hear, that even though you have been in the industry, so to speak, for all this time, you are constantly training, you are constantly learning, you're constantly bringing in new information to what you do. And I think that's really important for all of us to remember that's a necessary component to what we do.
Yeah, I agree. I think otherwise we get stuck,
right?
Stagnant.
Right, absolutely.
It's always evolving and changing. So we need to keep up with that and go in the direction that we connect, where we get excited. And clearly I'm excited about this.
I actually had a question. We had another really lovely energy healer from Colorado on the show a few weeks ago. And she, much like you, has taken a number of modalities and kind of fused them together in what it is she does, which she refers to herself as a freedom facilitator. That's nice, right?
Oh, that is nice. Yeah, I like that.
But she, as part of, not as the whole of what she does, but as part of what she does, she has done EFT and now has learned what is called faster EFT. And so I'm seeing a connection here in that it seems like some of the modalities that are coming out now are, yes, everything we've built on is good and works, but now we know how to do it faster. And
easier. Easier. Yeah. And I don't think it's really about the speed of it. It's about the fact that our consciousness has expanded and we're now aware of the way not in the complete way, but we have greater awareness of how things really work.
Right.
So that's the difference. It's like, oh, magic. Okay. Why not? Bring some magic in. Yeah.
Which, of course, we pagans have been saying for a long time.
Oh, yes, you have. Totally on target with that one. We're in the template of magic, and we're gonna, yeah, totally.
Absolutely. So, if someone wanted to study at the Barbara Brennan School, what would they have to do?
Go to the Barbara Brennan website, barbarabrennan.com. And all the information will be there. The school, you need to fill out an application. And the school in the U.S. starts in October, usually one of the first weeks of October. It is 5 residential days, 5 times a year. So it starts in October and usually skips a month. So it's every other month to June. And there's 4 years in the complete training. But you take it 1 year at a time, and some people take a year and they say that's all I really needed, and some people really want to get through the whole thing and get the diploma. We also are offering bachelor's degrees now, so we have bachelor's degrees in healing science, and what they do is they do online gen ed courses, and then you meet all the other all the other requirements for the school, and you'll get a bachelor's degree. Yeah. It's changed the configuration of the school. So now we're getting younger people in because they're interested in getting the bachelor's degree, which is really interesting. It used to be like we old crones were there, like the wise women were there. And then more men got interested, and now more young people are interested. So it's wonderful.
Well, yeah, because, as long as you can show that piece of paper that says you have a bachelor's, you could actually get a bachelor's in something really freaking cool.
Yeah, like healing science. Wow. Yeah.
So I had a question about your background. You had mentioned that in college you studied science.
Yeah.
And, one thing that I think is interesting is how science and spirituality find themselves at odds when they don't need to. I really believe that science and spirituality are completely aligned. If they're not aligned, there's something wrong. And
Yeah.
I guess it's a two-part question that I have for you. One is, do you feel that part of your success has to do with the fact that you have an affinity for and a background in science, number one? And number two, do you want to say anything about spirituality and science and how they align in general?
Well, I'm not sure that it's had anything to do with my success per se. I do see how every piece of my life experience has contributed to the whole of who I am and what I'm doing right now. So the science has been a critical piece for me because what was really important to me was as I was doing this out there kind of thing, I wanted to be really grounded in something that people could understand and professional about it, So that was really important to me in the way that I wanted to represent myself. I mean, anybody can decide how they want to represent themselves, but that was important to me. As far as how science, it was like, I think it used to be all one thing. Yeah, and then what happened? Scientific revolution, industrial revolution, and science went over here and they said, oh, if we can't cut it up, look at it, quantify it, it doesn't exist. And religion went over here into all their dogma and all their rules and the fear and everything that they were about. And spirituality was kind of left here going, okay, guys, well, let's see what happens, So now it feels like things are coming full circle and it's all coming back into like, what kind of language are we talking here? But we're all talking about the same thing, Even the Catholic Church coming up lately with their announcement that it's really okay and it doesn't violate any of their dogma if there are ETs. And I'm like, really? I wonder why you're telling us that now.
That's what I was thinking.
Do you know something that I should know? Yeah, and when you're talking quantum physics and we're talking the God particle, I mean, it's all about the same thing. And I think basically, we were talking about this at Matrix Energetics. Nobody knows what the nucleus of a molecule is. We're just making it up, and a lot of science is we're just making it up. And as we make it up, we try to prove it. And the more we talk about it and the more we teach it, the more we believe it's really true. But it's really just all the ways that we've made up how we understand our world. And it's like you're trying to understand your brain with your brain. That's a little bit difficult.
Wow. Yeah. Nice. That was, wow. I think you have given us all a whole lot to think about, and I think a lot of affirmation of what some of us have suspected.
Yay! Yes, we kind of knew this all along. We just,
So, obviously, people can go to your website to learn about you and to see how you might be able to help them. Anything else that you want to share, announce, promote, tell us about? Anything at all?
Yes, the reminders group. The reminders. Years and years and years ago, when I first was getting into this, I was an avid meditator. And the reason I was because when my husband, I had 3 little children running around all over the place. And when my husband got home, I would say, I'm going to go meditate. And it was kind of like mommy's time out, So I was an avid meditator. And this one night, I heard in my left ear a woman's voice, a very strange accented woman's voice, just the same way as I'm hearing your voice right now. It was a real voice. And she said, remind them of what they need to know. And I went, okay, I got pencil and paper. I'm ready. And that was it. And I'm like, damn, why is it always like that? Why don't you give me the whole thing? Why don't you tell me what you were? And I understand now, why that is. It was because what I needed to get to a certain level of understanding, experience, and wisdom in order to know what I know so that I can remind me, you, everybody of what it is we need to know. And at first, and so a few years ago, it dawned on me. It was like, I know what it is. I know what it is. I know what it is. And so I started a group. And actually, in the beginning, I thought it was around the 2012 Mayan calendar issue, around that. And the closer we got to that, the more I realized that that wasn't it. What it's about is basically consciousness raising. It's about reminding ourselves who we really are, why we're really here, what this is all about. And I think that a lot of, at least this is my opinion for what it's worth, a lot of the problems that we're facing today are a result of that disconnection from the spiritual element of who we really are and how things really work. We're conscious beings. We are not this body. We're not our brain. We're not our job. We're way more than that. And that's what the reminders are about. So the reminders continue. And I have a blog, and it's called Reminders of What You Need to Know, Reminders of What We Need to Know, all one word, .blogspot.com.
Nice.
Yeah. And anybody who goes to my website will be able to find that as well. So it's been a process, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful. I have groups that meet in my office, so we continue to talk about what it is that we need to know, what we need to be reminded of. And I'm willing to go anywhere, because this is my baby. I'm willing to go anywhere to any group and talk about it. Just contact me.
Is there a book forthcoming in this realm?
Yeah, there is. Oh, Christiana, I remember years ago, I came to you for a reading, and you said, you got to write a book, And I went, about what? Do you remember that? And I'm thinking to myself, the world really doesn't need another book on energy healing. It's been done. And you said something that I never forgot. You said, write about what you know. You know so much. And so my process for like a couple of years after that was, what do I really know? What do I really know? So I don't know, but I know something. So I think that's basically what it's about. And so you were the seed that got planted.
Well, spirit was the seed. It just came out in that
channel.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hillary Gauvreau, I want to thank you so much for being my guest at the Psychic Cafe. It's so nice to connect with you, and I'm just so inspired by everything that you shared with us today, and I'm sure everyone else is too. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
We'll connect again soon. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
Good luck in all of it.
Thank you.
Hillary Gauvreau, it's so nice to have you. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Isn't she just, a lovely woman on every level? And I hope you do check out her website and like her business page on Facebook. Okay, we've got a few more things we want to do before the end of the hour. I did want to share specifically some tarot stuff around Mother's Day. I want to share a little bit about the tarot art installation that I just saw and more about the Dali deck. We'll do that in just one moment, but I think after that interview, it is now time for our musical break. Robin Renee just sent me this video. It was recorded very recently in New Brunswick, New Jersey, where she did a live performance, and she's willing to share it with us. So let's go now to Robin Renee.
I just want to thank everybody again for doing this and inviting me. It's really, it's kind of, I don't even have words for it. I'm just glad it's good to be back here. And I'm just really happy to see the activist spirit still very much alive in New Brunswick. So that's a great thing. So thank you for doing this. And just to end, I was thinking about this show, and it's kind of like old home night with so many people that I've played music with and seen play over the years, so much of the time. And I really wanted to honor one of us who is no longer with us, Mark Bradley, who was an amazing singer. So this is one of his songs and one of my favorites. It's called Fortune 500.
Glad
Thanks, everybody. I'm going to thank you. I just want to thank everybody again for...
So, Robin Renee, we know her, we love her. We go to her website, robinrenee.com, and we support her music. Okay, we have just a few minutes left, and I did want to talk about the tarot and Mother's Day. And Eric found a nice image of the Rider-Waite Empress. We're all familiar with her. I think most of us really see her as the mom card. When she comes up in a reading, she may be a message from your mother in spirit. She may be a prediction of pregnancy. She may talk about issues that you have with your mother. She may talk about your own issues as a mother or wanting to be a mother. So she's the mom card. Now, as I told you at the beginning, right now I am all about Salvador Dali. I'm in the Tampa area now, and of course in St. Petersburg is the Dali Museum. And I've owned my Salvador Dali tarot deck for quite some time, and you know, it's a collector's deck. It goes for $145 new. I beat the crap out of mine. And on one hand, I gotta tell you, I feel guilty. It's a collector's deck. I never should have beat it up the way I have. But you know what? You know how I beat it up? I beat it up doing readings with it. And doing readings is what I do. Collecting decks is not what I do. I do readings with them. So maybe I don't feel so guilty. But I wanted to share two cards from this deck with you. First of all, of course, in honor of Mother's Day, here is the Salvador Dali Empress. And Salvador did this great thing where in some of the cards, he put the actual people that he knew in his life. Now, that's not a new thing. Even Visconti Sforza, many of the characters in the deck were actually characters in the Sforza and Visconti families. So it's a done thing. It's even a done thing now. But this is actually, the Empress here is his wife, Gala, who was a tarot reader, who inspired him to design his tarot. And where did Salvador Dali put himself in the deck? Well, he became the magician. And you know, I think that's pretty cool. Like if you were designing a tarot deck, which card would you make yourself? Which card would you make your spouse, your partner, your friends? It's pretty cool. So, when we talk, and I just want to talk a little bit more about Mother's Day. Mother's Day is this really interesting holiday because on one hand, it is a completely made-up holiday to sell cards, candy, balloons, flowers, all of that. On the other hand, I think it makes sense for us to have a holiday to honor mothers. We all had one. Many of us are mothers to children or to animals. And in a way, I think Mother's Day has become a day to honor the nurturing spirit of all women, and even to honor Gaia, our Mother Earth. And so, if you have your tarot decks with you, let's just do a very quick one-card reading today. And I've got, again, my full Dali. You can see I haven't worn the gold off completely, but almost. So go ahead and shuffle your deck. And just ask, and let's look at it this way, whether you are male or female, you have within you that nurturing spirit that we honor today on Mother's Day. So the question is, how can you nurture your own nurturing spirit? Shuffle and pull one card. Huh, that's fun. I got the Three of Pentacles. I nurture my nurturing spirit through the work I do. And yes, my work in many ways is about nurturing other people, about teaching other people. But that is how I honor my nurturing spirit. And I just have to tell you, I was well taken care of for Mother's Day. I haven't seen my kids. I'm going to see them next week. But my husband took me to see Iron Man in IMAX 3D. Awesome movie. Oh, my gosh. And took me out to breakfast and all kinds of good stuff. Okay, so let's see in the chat room what a few people got, cards a few people got. Joanne got the Ten of Pentacles, and that makes so much sense, Joanne, because in the classic way, Ten of Pentacles, we have dogs, and we know that you nurture your dogs and you're a mother to your dogs, but by honoring your home and nurturing your home, and I just saw a video of a hummingbird that you posted, I think that was outside your home, that's how you nurture your nurturing spirit. Yeti with the Eight of Swords, you may need to nurture your nurturing spirit a little more. The Eight of Swords can suggest some anxiety, can suggest some overthinking and feeling trapped. So maybe you need to do some of that nurturing. And Anita got the Hanged Man reversed. And she says, quit hanging around. And yeah, that's what I would say, Anita. When I see the Hanged Man reversed, I really see the need to take control, to stop hanging around, as you said, and take control. You will nurture your nurturing self by taking control of your situation and going forward, being the creative, spiritual, talented person that you are. And I know that you're doing that. So we're coming to the end of our time today. I did want to give you a little sneak peek. Last week, I went with a couple of friends who were not tarot people at all. And in fact, they invited me to do this. There was an art show in one of the community rooms at the Dali Museum. It was called, let me make sure I get it right, Contemporary Magic, a tarot deck art project, where the curator of the project got famous living artists from all over the world to each choose one of the 78 tarot cards to do in any way they wanted. 77 of them were hanging in this community room. I didn't recognize that many of the artists. It actually made me feel like I'm a little culturally deprived. The one I did recognize is a fashion designer. I know him as a fashion designer. Christiana did the Nine of Cups. And of course, we know him most prominently for having designed the red bottom cups. And his Nine of Cups is a woman lying back with a wine glass in her hand and her feet up, wearing these lovely shoes. And there's cups and shoes throughout the picture. I am working with the people at Dali to get permission to be able to show you some pictures next week and tell you more about the display. Before we say goodnight, I do want to remind you I have a free tarot webinar tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. This is Monday night. It's at 7 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. Runs for about an hour and 15 minutes. Join us if you can. Go to tarotbychristiana.org for all the login information. Next week, you're going to like our guest next week, too. His name is Bill Lutz. He's a humorist, he's an historian, and he's a ghost hunter. So we're going to be speaking with him, and again, we'll have more information about Contemporary Magic, the art project that I saw at the Dali. Join us tomorrow night for the webinar if you can. I want to thank you so much for being here. Happy Mother's Day. We'll see you back here next week at Christiana's Psychic Cafe.